have Loral Langemeier. She's a money expert, sought-after speaker, entrepreneurial leader, the author of 5 New York Times best-selling books, and she's on a mission to change the conversation about money and empower people around the world to become millionaires. Is there anybody in here that's interested in that subject? All right, so if you want to become or learn how to be a millionaire, I need you guys to stand up. Please stand up. Woo! All right, yeah, let's get some energy going. Loral Langemeier, come on out. What's that?
Video.
Video. Video, guys.
Then they can stand up.
Then they can stand up. Okay, everybody stand up.
Sit down for a minute? Yeah, for 1 minute.
Let's go, guys. Oh, that's right. Let's get a video. Show. First, I'm sorry.
Someone who was walking the path before you. So their job, I think, and I've had mentors since I was 17. That was just a few years ago. If you have the intention of becoming an entrepreneur and making money and getting wealthy, then you form your corporation right now. Instead of focusing on what you can't have and the struggles, you focus on what you can have. And so, like, the illegal conversations I say at home is you don't say what you can't afford, you say, well, how can we afford it? I mean, last I checked, and I always say this kind of funny, but Christopher Columbus did not discover America so we could have jobs. I mean, he discovered it for entrepreneurialism, for freedom, and we have lost it. We lost it from, generations have lost it. It is time to bring spirit back. I mean, that's where the money's made. It's, I want to be a millionaire, and I'm going to change my choices, my way of living, and really get in action around creating that for myself and my life. The traditional financial planning world doesn't work if you really want to be wealthy. The traditional financial planning world is designed that you maybe stay stable. It designs you to make less as you get older. This is Loral Langemeier, a 5-time New York Times bestseller. I want you to add me on Snapchat like right now, at Loral Langemeier. Talk to you soon, all the time. What we talk about in the Millionaire Maker is money makeovers and how do you really recreate. Most people are focusing on debt. What we want you to focus on is creating more. I'd say 80% of my coaching that I do in one-on-one with folks is about their psychology and the way they think. You can run from creditors, but you can't run from a credit score. You really have to get your money working for you. Most people don't know how to invest. They're investing poorly. They're in single-digit numbers. Millionaires don't do that.
All right, everybody, let's stand up one more time. And welcome Loral Langemeier.
This is the little thing my lawyer says because we're going to talk about money. How many of you want to learn about money? Woo! That doesn't look very excited. How many of you really want to learn about money? Woo! How many of you think you know everything about money? How many of you are millionaires? So you all need to learn a hell of a lot about money, right? All right, so I didn't say you could sit down. This is a little thing that says I'm going to give a lot of conversation about money. How many of you really want to learn about it? Or you just want me to have a nice, cozy conversation? Really learn about it. How many of you like to get a path to be a millionaire? My promise is 3 to 5 years. My fastest is 152 days. It's not difficult if you're ready. So how many of you are really ready? And you know you're going to do it really differently. And you're going to be uncomfortable. And this is a great way to start the talk. Give you all the warnings. All right, here's the deal. I have 1996, I was working for Chevron. So how many of you have had a job in your life where you just felt like you were in prison? Right? How many of you now are unemployable? Like it is not even a possibility on the planet that getting a job would be the choice of where money comes from. Right? How many of you have a job? How many of you are going to quit that damn job when I tell you how, right? Now, you guys we know, right? How many of you are going to quit it when you know actually how to make the money? Or you know that we have a strategically different plan for you to walk out. Yes? Yes. All right. So I started started a company, 1996, I met Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter. I was working at Chevron. My prior life, how many of you had many lives? Yes. Right, so one of my lives was a finance degree, a master's in exercise physiology. So I was designing fitness centers on the offshore oil rigs for Chevron. So I was living in New Orleans. I would fly offshore. I had a seaplane and helicopter assigned to me. And I had 3 years and billions of dollars to build 272 fitness centers on offshore oil rigs. Anybody been on an offshore rig yet? It's a wild place. And there's usually smoking quarters, and they have these huge lard vats, and they're cooking mostly fried foods. And they're like, and you're going to try to get us fit. And I said, you bet. And boy, did they love me. Not really. I grew up in a farm in Nebraska. They called me the Yankee fitness girl. And then when I would fly to their rig, they're like, oh, God, that fitness girl's coming to town today. And they hated it because I'd make them work out and run steps, and I took their lard away, and I'd make them stop smoking. Anyway, it was funny. I think it's why I become so straight and sarcastic, because you kind of have to talk back at that in energy. So after that, I knew that I wanted to leave and get back to finance. So 1996, I met Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter. So from 96 to 2001, I was the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, cash flow gain facilitator trainer. I had the rights to the entire project. And I helped create 25,000 cash flow clubs around the world, and trained and trained and trained and trained and trained. And then, how many of you actually are just getting your product together? Okay? So here's my millionaire advice. While you don't have product, sell someone else's or add it to what you do as fast as you can. So I sold Kiyosaki's, I sold Keith Cunningham's, bought Ken. So by the time I was in my first year of really being in my own business in 1996, I was selling 18 people's product in the finance space, and then my service, their products, my service was financial coaching, right? So fast forward, then I would start taking people on real estate trips. In 1999, I became a real estate and a gas and oil millionaire, because I was in my gas and oil world before. And then in 2000, I launched Live Out Loud. So since then, we've been making millionaires. So I've been in this a very long time. I would say I've been a shark since before Shark Tank even had a name. I buy and sell more companies. I've sold and bought hundreds and hundreds of current businesses, and I've done over 1,000 real estate transactions. So, not a beginner, don't have a lot of I shouldn't say patience, but when you tell me one thing, right? You guys know, right? I'm pretty intense. I just get right to it, right? So do you want to get to it, or do you want to be coddled? Then you should probably go down the street for the next hour. Coddling is not my thing. And the reason I called my company, right, so Live Out Loud, it said quality conversations about money and investing. So when you speak about money, you speak out loud. I can tell you within probably 10% of what you make, where you are, and what your real story is. Because your story, your conversation tells me where you are financially. Make sense? So, and what I've also known about creating millionaires and having you learn about money is that until you start talking about it, being in conversation about it, you're never going to know about it. You can read about it, you can hang out about it. If you want to be a millionaire, what do you think the number one thing is you have to do? The number one thing you have to do if you want to be a millionaire? Yeah, but what's the fastest way to change mindset? Talk about it. Collaborate. Keep going. You're close. Hang out with us. No, it's actually really, 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 really required. If you want to be a millionaire, a lot of people say they want to be a millionaire, but you actually have no idea what we do, how we think. That plane that was in the first slide, that's my King Air. I've had it for 11 years. I flew down last night, spent the night, had Sandy, my dear friend, pick me up, and came over here to speak to you, and I'm flying back home. I'll be home by a big football party I'm having at our place tonight. My son's a senior. Tomorrow's senior night, so I have to be back right away. So I'm not running away from you, but I have an agenda and I gotta get home. So unless you fly consistently on a private plane, you actually have ideas about what it's like that you don't know. So you say, well, that's very arrogant. No, you get really efficient with your time when you're a millionaire. How many of you think you're hyper efficient with your time? Then you'd be millionaires. Can't wait. It's close, right? And here's what I would say about changing your thinking about it. Unless you really spend time in the conversation, you won't think any differently. And I'm going to tell you why during our conversation today. So how many of you seriously, this is a serious money conversation. It's not the one from The Secret where we're all sit around and manifest and have a little dream journal together. We're going to get to it. Starts at the bank account level, starts with your company, starts with how you invest your money. Are you guys ready for all that? Yes. think Manny knew exactly what he was getting when I said I'm coming to talk.
All I knew is it was going to be good.
It's going to be good and it's going to be intense, and I'm kind of known for it. I also speak very quickly. Keep up. My speed works. So the way I want you hearing, I say that kind of sarcastically, but the truth is, I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm 52 this summer. I got a lot of lives to change, and you guys got to hurry up. Right? Because, and here, how many of you have been told in your life you should slow down? No, you should speed up. So those people are wanting you to stay small like they are. So you call them your friends. They're interesting humans. You guys get it? So I take this very, very seriously. You want to be a millionaire. And here's why I've just become so intense about it. Is there's a lot of fluffy conversations, and it just breaks my heart when you pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 and you get fluffy conversations and no life change. So ours is a lifetime deal, it's a lifetime membership. That's what we do. We've been doing it forever. These guys have been in just recently, just this year, right? About March, they came into our community. So the challenge and why only less than 10% make it is because we're so ingrained in a different money conversation. So let's just kind of start with that. And then I'm going to have you all stand up. We're going to take a quick quiz. But where did you learn money anyway? Like, where did you learn about money?
Parents.
Parents. And are your parents millionaires?
No.
Right. So then they invented whatever they did. So it's not a parent fault. None of that little victim-y stuff. We need to go have regression therapy and all that kind of crap. It is just what it is, right? They did their best at the time. And the other thing that, no matter where they came from, is there was just a different economy. Right? There's a totally different economy when they grew up and they did whatever they needed to. I mean, there were times when interest rates were 18 to 20%. There were times when, it was a recession. There was times when it was a depression. So whatever it was, they did what they did. How else and who else did you learn it from? Yell it out. This is Live Out Loud. We're having conversation. School. But how much does school know and teach you? Zero. Maybe you had a balanced little checkbook. If you were lucky, you might have got that class. Like, I have a lot of professional doctors, lawyers, and guess how much business classes they get? They get 1 3-hour class, that's it. But they're expected to run a business, right? Whether they're chiros or whatever business they all, dentists, I just got a new dentist as a client. He has 3 practices, makes millions, and is overpaying taxes by crazy amounts of money. Right, so where else? So parents, school, sometimes religious, institutes kind of give it a flavor.
Self.
And what?
Self.
And then yourself, right? But then here lies the problem, is that when you're self-taught, there's not a lot of other people besides the norm. I'm going to call it the norm, right? Other people would be ruder and say, like, the sheepville, right? Because here's how it's taught. Well, actually, before we go there, let's take a quiz. And have any of you actually read my book? You've actually read it? Good job. How many of you haven't? And haven't read it yet? Starts there. By the way, I was just going to say, I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm NLP trained, I'm linguistic trained, so I'm going to do a lot of things to you that I also would suggest it's a very subtle undertone of how to teach you how to speak from the stage. Right? So right now, I'm in the top 3 of the world leaders of commanding the most money from the stage. It's not difficult to do. I know you talked about giving a talk. All of you need to give your talk, but boy, you better be giving your talk to change lives. Not just have, God, that felt so good. Yeah, I want it to feel good, I want to change your life. So that's a whole different conversation, but there's a lot of embeds that I'm going to do with and to you. If you want me to stop and point them out, I will. But it's very, very crafted, and I do it because I want you to model it. Make sense? So it's called concurrent learning. We're having 2 conversations. One that's very overt and top line, and the other one's extremely subtle, or not so much. Got it? Are you all in? All right? So, Millionaire Maker, I wrote it in 2006. How I got to that journey was J. Conrad Levison and I wrote a book called Gorilla Wealth. In 2004, I wanted to write a book, right? Everybody knows I need to write a book. And the marketing, guerrilla marketing was at the height, and Jay was, everything to everybody, and I was friends with a lot of those guys that sold this product. And so I remember knocking on his door and saying, Jay, I want to write Gorilla Wealth. And he said, we only do marketing books. I said, I know, but I do wealth gorilla style. He said, well, isn't that cute? I said, I'll make you more money. That's how I got the deal. I said, I'll make you more money with our book than any other book ever published by any gorilla author. And I did, in all sorts of interesting ways. Boy, did I. You talk about, you've heard of force versus power? That was sheer force. By the way. So, anyway, so that book catapulted to the bestseller list because of Jay. Mostly because of him, let's be honest, the content was good. But he was who he was. And then McGraw-Hill found me online, and they said, Susie Orman gives the occupational talk. We want you to write a Millionaire Maker book, because you've been making millionaires for years. And I said, I know that I make millionaires, but I don't know how I do it. How many of you have that problem going on in your life? You create a result, but you don't have a system? Do you know what I mean? So I was in that little vortex of, I knew I was creating millionaires because I was dragging you around to real estate markets, and it's not hard when you're in a great real estate market to make you a millionaire and get your money invested. Like, I knew that I was doing it, but I didn't have a system. So McGraw-Hill hired me for a 3-book contract, well into 7-figure contract. And I said, we still have a problem. I don't know how to write. I don't want to write. So how are we going to get this done? So those of you who don't like or want to write, talk your books. So I talked my books, and they hired me a Goldman Sachs writer. And together, she and I, still to this day, are best friends. She's my writer on all my books. She gets me. She understands the concept. She's a millionaire herself. And that was the other thing. I said, I need a millionaire writer. I can't have some flunky that's a damn good editor write a millionaire book. That's odd psychology. It's an integrity gap. That's an embed to tell you, stop playing small with teammates that just show up. Right? You want to be on our team, we take advice from millionaires. We play with millionaires. The woman who did my photo shoots, multi-millionaire. The women who, people who do my video are millionaires. So it's not to say you're going to get there tomorrow, but set your sights high and don't compromise. Make sense? So, long story, wrote the book, came out in January 21st, 2006, and it was a New York Times bestseller in 24 hours. So we crushed it organically. And it's, people say now, well, it's 2017, you should rewrite the book. And I said, I don't have to rewrite the book. How do you become a millionaire is how you become a millionaire. It's a system. Right? So I've studied families for generations and generations and centuries. How you become a millionaire is you do just what I say up here. Right? So I'm just going to say it out loud so you know what millionaires do. We make money. We make it. Say it loud. We make it. We keep it. We lead and control it. Especially on the investing side. See, most of you are heavily invested in the market. The market's going to have this roller coaster crash, and when it goes down, you're going down too. So if I was you, I'd run. I would do anything on Wall Street. We do everything off Wall Street. You say, well, what's off Wall Street? Well, somebody owns this building. Somebody owns that theater. Somebody owns the laundromat. Somebody owns the gas station. So you say, well, I don't know how to get that stuff. I know, but I'm going to teach you. If you want to be, what I think what Shark Tank has done, it's really presents how millionaires live. They own your communities. You know what I mean? They own everything. So we want you to own a little bit of whatever you want to own. So inside the book, here's the deal. Can I send you this? Will you read it? Yes. So there's a couple things we've given you. Right? So there's a little card right there. You fill out your information with your email on the card. You'll get one? Yeah. Okay. Here's one. So fill this little card out and make sure your email's clear, and I'll send you an ebook copy of it. Okay? When you get it, in this show, I have some here right now. And he needs some in here. And all this stuff. You should have 3 things from me. You should have that card. We're going to talk through this, how you become a millionaire, and then we're going to talk through why I'm here to talk to you, is inviting you to come to one of my workshops. So it's our workshop schedule. We'll be back here in LA. We're actually going to be at LA, so it's a little, actually we'll be up from here. I don't know, we might park that in Orange County. So anyways, January 18, 19, 20. We're not an event-driven company. Those are just cool ways to hang out with millionaires. So I'm inviting you to tomorrow, today, start a lifestyle of becoming a millionaire. We coach you every day. We get you help every day, whether you show up. Have you guys realized you're the biggest problem? Right? In shifting your behavior. So you're going to read chapter 2 when I send you the book. Okay? And then you're going to read chapter 2. And then the way the book's written is written about 7 families that I've helped create millionaire status to. So there's blueprints. So if you're a stock entrepreneur and never made 6 figures or 7 figures, that's your chapter. If you are, how many of you live in California? Actually, the other way, how many of you don't live in California? Okay? Wow, that's good. All right, so those of you who live in California, You're in the state. I've lived here 13 years too. I live in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, on the other side. But you are in the state that taxes you the most. So you have the biggest problems in taxation. Some of you have lazy assets, which means your investments aren't making double-digit returns. Some of you don't know how to invest. So there's 7 stories. Find your story and follow the blueprint, right? So, and then every year you want to read through to see, are you in the same pattern of money that you've been in? Make sense? But how you become a millionaire it started in 1933, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But what I'd like you to do is I want to see who has the most ready, who's like most ready to become a millionaire. So would you all stand really quick? We'll take a quiz. As you come, you sit down. It's not musical chairs. You don't get to stand back up. Okay? All right. So to become a millionaire, there's 7 things in every system. Where am I supposed to point this to go? Sandy, do you want to? What? Where? There, got it. All right. So there's 7 things in every millionaire system. Number 1 is your relationship to money. Oh, there we go. Just slow. Get rid of that one. We'll talk to both at the same time. No, I got rid of too many.
She's actually doing it over here.
Do you want me to click for you?
Yes, that'd be fabulous. So slow. I gotta keep moving. All right, so click 1. All right, your relationship to money. If you don't have what I call yes energy, a great relationship to money, you say yes, you figure things out, you enroll only positive people, you don't listen to whiners and criers. How many of you notice as you're becoming more successful, there's a lot, like your tolerance for whining and story and all that is like getting less? It's like, tell the same story 10 years ago. Like, you move a little and you're like, we have a new story. It's funny, by the way. So here's what no energy sounds like. If you say these things, have a seat. So if you say, I can't afford it, sit down. That's no energy. No one says that if you're rich. Okay? If you say, I don't have time. Time means you don't have enough team. Have a seat if you say you don't have time. Have a seat if you say, here's my favorite, I'm not ready. What do you mean you're not ready? Like, you're not ready to get rich, you're not ready to change your life, you're not ready to pay less taxes, you're not ready to make more money. Let's see, what other funny ones are there? I don't have time, can't afford it. Those are kind of big ones. All right, everybody else, yes energy? Yes. Okay, and then the next one, is your starting point. You always know where you are. So you know your income, your expenses, your cash flow, your assets, your liability, your net worth. So if you don't know where you are financially, have a seat. Awesome. The next one's Freedom Day. So when you read my books, you're going to see that we changed the conversation about money. The conversation about money, again, started in 1933. A whole bunch of people, very wealthy families, 7 of them, went out to Jekyll Island. Anybody read The Creature from Jekyll Island? Okay? So, all right. So the entire financial institutes and banks got formed, and then right behind that, right, started the industrial age, which was our school system. So when people say, well, I'm going to change the system, you're changing a system that is so ingrained. Is it changeable? It's influenceable. But the truth is, you either get with it, know it, or stay broke. Because the entire system is designed, the rich get rich, the poor get poor. There is no such thing as the middle. It's a cute little conversation, but it's not true, and I'm done telling you today, you're going to be shocked. My goal today is to irritate you a little, right? Because I want you to be a little irritated that you wish you would have known this. Sharon Lecter and myself and several others, we are so committed to getting this conversation in junior high. Because could you imagine if you actually really knew about money legitimately in junior high? Like you had a choice, like you just don't have a choice. So there's that whole system I call the occupational conversation. Susie Orman's great at it, Dave Fox great at it, David Ramsey's great at it. We're completely 100% opposite. 100. So you can't say, well, I'm going to listen to Susie on Saturday and I'm going to listen to Loral during the week. Well, you can't. You'll be schizophrenic. Right? And then the goal of the Financial Institute is to keep you in a job where they can tax you the most. Okay? And then get you to retire. Like if you go to a financial institute, what do they do when they sit down with you? They'll say, so, what's your name? Rob. When would you like to retire? And then you say the date. They put your number into a little pie chart. A little pie chart spits out a little software program. It's not sophisticated at all. Completely manipulated to their products. That they're going to make a whole bunch of fees and you're going to pay a bunch of tax. And look, maybe by the time you're 70, you can retire. So retirement, by definition, by the way, just to gross you out with that word, it's an agricultural word that means to put cattle to pasture to die. So the whole goal is that you die, and that their little software algorithm works. Just irritating. And I'm shortcutting this. You should see the depth that I know about this. I always say, well, you guys are reading Shades of Grey, I read textbooks. So. Do I have to speak a little slower, do you? I am very committed to this conversation and know it inside and out. That's not the conversation. So what I call the conversation we're talking about, it's a lifestyle of living corporate life, right? We're going to live like the wealthy live. And we live inside companies. We live very, very differently. We don't retire. So I made up this word, and like we have to have a goal. So what's our goal? Well, it's Freedom Day. So Freedom Day is cash flow. How much cash flow do you want per month to do what you want? So is it $20,000 a month? Is it $10,000? Adults cannot have less than 10. Is it $40,000? Is it $50,000? How much do you need per month to do what you want? Pick your number. If you don't have a number, have a seat. If you know it, yell it out so I know how big the room's thinking. 40, 50s,
100.
20, 60, 100. Who else? I love my hundreds. Okay? All right, let's keep going. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. The next one, you want to click there, please, is your relationship to debt. So the occupational conversation would say, what about debt? That is bad. You should live within your means. You shouldn't have any credit cards. Don't take risks. Like you even know what that association of risk even means. What else? Here's the worst one. Worst one, they say pay off your credit cards every month. Guess what that does to your credit score? It drops it. You can pay them off on a rotational basis every month, but you do not pay them all on the 15th or all on the 20th or all on the 30th. We have a whole system. So when I send you the book, you can also make a note, page 194. We'll teach you how to get out of debt, but increase your credit score. All right? So totally different. So that question is not about debt, bad debt. This question is about good debt. If you want to be a 3 to 5 year millionaire, all right, so let's just say what's your year? So it's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So by 2022, you'll be a millionaire. Are you willing to leverage good debt? Which means take out mortgages, learn to use other people's money, learn to use leverage properly. If you're unwilling to leverage good debt is really this question. Because us millionaires, we have millions of dollars of debt. Millions and millions of dollars of debt. We also have millions of dollars of assets. You guys got it? If you're unwilling to leverage good debt, have a seat. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, have a seat. Because no one teaches this. And then let's just solve a quick problem. What's the fastest, actually I'm going to say the only answer to getting out of bad debt? I mean, what is the solution to getting out of bad debt? Are you over consumers of buying junk? Not paying it down. Make more money. See, debt is an income problem. You guys get that? Bad debt. It's because you don't know how to make money, you put the rest of your life on credit cards. So what credit card, like the companies that will reorganize your debt, do a brilliant job of taking your fees and organizing and taking all your money because you just didn't know what you were doing, you poor little thing, and they're going to charge you 40% for that, right? When the real answer is if you knew how to make money, you wouldn't have that debt. So let's solve the right problem. You guys get where we're going? We're going to teach you how to make money. Because in the occupational conversation that we're all taught this, so don't hear this as a critic or anything or criticism, it's just true. Everyone is taught to go what? Get a job, maximize your 401k, put your money in the stock market because you're too busy working, take care of your family, and let us financial institutes handle it all. Interesting proposition. Or what's your other alternative? Make more money and go learn what everybody else knows about being rich. Right? Who developed all these laws about being rich? The rich people. Right? They designed corporations and entities and LLCs and trusts. So we get to keep our money while the people who are having jobs are overtaxed. The entire system is designed that way. Do you guys get it?
Yep.
A little flip chart, I can show it to you in more visual format. So the answer to debt is make more money and leverage. The next one, keep your cash. How many of you have your own businesses? Okay, if you are still a sole proprietor, right? So if you're making money, if you're not making money in an LLC a limited partnership, an S corp, C corp, or a trust. So if you are not legally, you have a right to take deductions. So if you're not incorporated at some level, have a seat, and you're still a sole proprietor. And by the way, those of you that are sole proprietor, and especially if you're in California, and for all of you, one of the things we do when you sign up, because again, even though we have events that you can come to eventually, we have an online one you can come to in November, what we really want you to do is start tomorrow. All right, so what day are we at? So Friday, tomorrow, Gabe calls and welcomes you. You're going to tell us all the little things on the back of this card that you're having a panic attack about right now. Those of you that just sat down, you're going to say, my gosh, I need incorporated. And then we get going. One of the things we offer a lot of you in California, and you've got to take advantage of this, we'll do a 3-year tax return review. So when you look at Live Out Loud, it's not just me. There's 28 financial experts. I have CPAs, I have lawyers, I have security counsel, I've got great financial folks. I'm just puppet master. I'm air traffic control, right? And so I move you around to where you need to be. One of the things with the Californians, like we just redid a teacher in Northern California, his tax return, $72,000 back. Chiropractor here in San Diego, $168,000 back. Because he was operating as a sole proprietor. Can you imagine cracking backs? And some idiot accountant tells you to say sole proprietor, and you hurt someone's back? And he has a multi-million-dollar house? Like, really? That means everything goes. There's no protection. So, and again, you say, well, how come I don't know this? Because so few people teach this. Like, you go to H&R Block, they're not going to teach you this. That's for the normal people. How many of you want to get rich? Then we're not normal people anymore. So, you know what I mean by that? Like, think medicine. Like, you have your core, Western med doc and your general practitioner, and then how many of you go to alternative doctors? How many of you love the alternative side of that, right? How many of you have done cannabis and CBD oil, right? Changes his life, changes lots of lives, right? What would your medical doc say about that? Especially in states where it's not legal. You can't, well then you cross the border, you move to get healthy. So what we are is we're that alternative financial place. So if you go out to the traditional place and say, I just heard this woman speak, and she said I should get incorporated, they're probably going to say, oh, you shouldn't get incorporated, it costs money. Well, no kidding. We're in this game to make money, but also get our lives protected. Make sense? Okay? So here's the easiest way I teach this point. Companies make money, individuals get taxed. You guys get it? Companies meaning your LLC, your S Corp, your C Corp, whatever you are. If you don't know what you are, you will be on a phone call tomorrow with one of our team members figuring out what you should be. And even if you are, do a review, make sure you're right. Because you get to save 2017. Meaning you can have a great 2017 tax strategy, or you're going to fly into 2018 and say, gosh, why am I overpaying taxes again? Because you didn't have a plan. So it's kind of a great time. We're less than 90 days out to have a great 2017. You guys get how serious I am about this?
Yep.
So if you're serious, you say, I want to get rich, then you do these things. These aren't suggestions. You guys get what I mean?
Yeah.
See, a lot of people here suggest, oh, I don't know, what do you think? Well, do you want to get rich? Yes, then do it. You guys see how it's pretty clear. It's sort of like if you want to say you want to get fit, and you say, oh my God, but I want to lay on the couch and eat a bowl with a gallon of ice cream today. Well, then you don't want to get fit, you're out of integrity. And I use that word stronger more and more, is if you want what you want, then get integrity to what you want. Stop lying to yourself about, I want to get rich, but I don't want to do it this way. I want to get skinny, but I don't want to do it this way. I want to get whatever. It doesn't work. You got to have a very specific system and plan. Let's go to the next one. The next one's your money got to make money. I always call it your money-making money plan. So if you looked at your average annual rate of return, your house, your stock portfolio, 401ks, whatever you have, if your average annual rate of return is not at least a double digit, 10% or more, or a plan for 10% or more, have a seat. So if you looked at your average annual rate of return, right, and over the course of a year, you annualized it, are you on track or have a plan to make 10% or more, double digit return? If you have a plan, then you're good. And those of you who just sat down are my fastest millionaires. Because if you knew how to make double digit from a single digit, in fact, my 152-year millionaire, he had a job, he had about $600,000 in the bank, reconstituted the assets, did a couple flips, business flips and real estate flips, we flipped more than that, and became a millionaire in 152 days. So you guys are so close. How many of you are excited about learning this? Oh, so good. Love it. So, and then the one, which is the biggie, you cannot do it by yourself. So if you have no team at all, which means you have no assistant, no accountant, no web designer, no social media guy, you have no help at all. Nobody that helps with your house. If you have kids and you don't have any home care or kid care, if you have no help at all, have a seat. You're a solo, they call them solopreneurs on the internet. You're all good? You got a team? When I hear the word solopreneur, I hear suffering. I'm like, oh my gosh, you would rather do everything by yourself. Like, you must suffer, like, because life's a big life. I don't care how big a life you have. You can't do it all by yourself. And you don't know how to do half the stuff we're asking you to do, so then you do nothing. Because you just don't know how to do it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you guys standing? 5 or 6 standing. So give these guys a hand. Well played. All right, so what that means for those of you standing is that you have the system, at least the components of the system in order. So the first thing is, so I'll give you guys a hand one more time. Congratulations. Well played. Are you a millionaire? Not yet? Are you close? Well, I'm your best friend. We are going to do it. If you're serious. Yeah. I wear my little golden Dorothy shoes to kick ass with, and we're going to do it. Okay, you got it? We're good. You millionaire? So validating, right?
Yeah, probably that.
And then any of you millionaires any other millionaires that you sat down? So we find with millionaires who sit down, it's typically that you got out of organized. You, like number 2, you kind of didn't stay organized, which is odd. And then the bigger one is that you have lazy assets. You stopped investing aggressive as you could still be doing. All right? All right, so go ahead and have a seat. What I'd like you to do on the back side of this card is anything that you need from what we talked about, the 3-year tax return. Those of you in California, please write it down. It costs you nothing. Here's how my team works. If and when we show you that we will get you back money, then you have to hire my guy to redo 3 years of tax returns. Right? And by the way, when do rich people pay taxes? Not quite yet. I'm going to have a write some stuff on it, Amy. When do rich people pay taxes? Right now? Well, never, absolutely. But when you file that little form that says, you know,
October.
no, October right now. You file September and October. You don't file in April. You can do extensions. Those of you, let me give you the good news. Those of you that are sole proprietors or you don't have a company, you're the #1 target for the IRS for an audit. So it's not S-corps, it's not LLCs, right? You're the #1 target of those of you that are claiming deductions. Now let's just talk through this a little bit. So Kiyosaki wrote probably best in his book, right? The whole system is designed that you get a job, right? A W-2, right? And then from the W-2, you get taxed to pieces, right? And then you get to live on what's left. That's how it's taught. That's the system. But also in the system, but not taught loudly. I have a finance degree, didn't learn any of this stuff, which really irritates me that I spent all that money. The Real Rich Dad, which is not, the whole thing was a story, it was cute. But there were some really, really, really great men who taught Robert all that he knew, and they were also my mentors, extraordinary men. It's just not being taught. But here's the truth. When you have a company, an LLC, an S-corp, C-corp, right? Your company, whichever's appropriate for you, so write that down. You know, I want to get incorporated. And by the way, those of you in California, if you have an internet kind of a business, I have a beautiful conference center in Lake Tahoe, Zephyr Cove, Nevada, and you can also incorporate and use my address, and we will give you an office lease. You can visit, and it's a co-work space. You can use it anytime you want. You can come to a conference there next time, Manny. We should go to Tahoe. You can put, it's about this big, about 64 people. We have full catering, full lights, full aviation. It's all ours. But then, so for example, I'm going to use you as examples. Is that fine? Right? So you have to have a California company because you live here and you're doing things like this. But you have intellectual property. You all have books. You all have tapes. You all have beautiful like things you're developing, right? Whatever your IP is, I'll call it. Your IP can live in a C corporation or corporation in Nevada, and then we give you an office lease, and you legally now have a right to have a business in Nevada and California. And guess what happens to your taxes? To the ground. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Huh? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm married to this hot Canadian. I just got married less than 2 years ago. I met him at one of my workshops. We have a very different story about who picked up who. Anyway, a lot of Canadians have, when you talk about Californians getting taxed, the Canadians get pummeled. So a lot of Canadians also use our Nevada companies, so they get cross-border. We'll teach you more about cross-border and cryptocurrencies and just how, I mean, you better have different currencies in the world. I'm just saying, like I have companies in Canada, not only because I had it before my husband. I have companies in land in Mexico, I own Cerritos Beach. I have companies in Australia, New Zealand, UK, Ireland, all over the world, like little companies. And so then what you do to pay no tax is you got tax year-ins going on all the time. I mean, so if I'm too profitable in one place, then one of my other, maybe South Africa or Australia, they're going to need my inventory, so they have to contract that company to move the inventory, which created an expense. I mean, I know how to do this better than anyone you probably ever met. My team does. I have the most extraordinary team, and we live and breathe this. So how many of you are serious about doing it? So if you're not serious, what's your choice? Right, which means what?
Stay broke.
Hoping to God it works out, which for me is the scariest posture you could ever live in your life. 83% of people walking the planet have no certainty that their financial plan is going to work. They have some interesting idea, but you don't have, here's when I know you have a plan, is because you have a spreadsheet. And this is how we work with you. You're going to meet with the alternative financial planner. You put up a spreadsheet, say this is where we are, this is where you are today. Look at all those fees that you're paying and all the taxes. This is what you could be doing. Or this is what you could be doing. We call it scenario training. And then you get busy learning. Right? So our goal is to teach you to be smart, right, about money. That makes sense? And then as you get smarter, guess what happens to the feeling of risk? It goes down. See, the only reason most people have a fear feeling or a scared feeling, or right now if you're sitting and you have some weird energy around this conversation, is because you don't know it. And you should be scared to death. So here's what's irritating. Let's switch gears. I want to hit the slide one more time. On here, this is, again, back to needing to systemize what I teach. So on this, I'm going to have you guys go through here. We're going to talk about this matrix really quick. Because in the matrix, what's critical is that money goes on and on forever. You engaged in it by driving here, you Ubered here, you put gas in your car. You pay rent, you pay a mortgage. The most sophisticated conversation and interaction of your life is called money, and no one teaches you. Right? You just kind of, because it's not wanting to be taught. Like, you go along this path of getting a job, and then what do those people tell you if you need another job, or if you need to make more money? I just told you the answer. Get another job, like work harder. And God forbid be an entrepreneur. I mean, holy shit, 90% of you are fail, and you're no good at it. Now let's be honest, you're all here to be entrepreneurs, correct? Is it a heck of a lot of work? Yes. And you know why? It's because we were taught to get jobs. We weren't taught the 3 top skills. You can write these down. The 3 top entrepreneurial skills that are not taught. I'll put money as the top one. But let's just call it what it is. It's called cash flow. If you don't understand cash flow, see, most people, like right in the other conversation, you're taught to run out of a checkbook, right? Money in, money out, debits, credits, right? That's kind of what you're taught, if you're taught any of that at all. And then what's made it worse with banking, with like electronic, you don't even balance a checkbook. You just hope that God, the bank, actually does it for you properly. And I will tell you, when we get to know each other more and you're committed to really learning this, which banks you should never bank at. And they intentionally take and scam, and they're totally illegal, and they don't get busted. Why? Because guess who owns them? Right? Am I irritating you yet? Are we at that irritation point? Not like a negative irritation, but I want to motivate you to learn. Say, damn it, I'm not going to do this anymore. But I also don't think you have a choice to do this. So, being an entrepreneur, the 3 top skills is cash flow. You have got to not run out of a checkbook, run out of cash flow. Which means you're going to learn to float and carry money and just do different ways to capitalize things. And then we're going to teach you marketing and sales. Right? Because when did you ever go to high school or college? I have a finance degree. I took I think it was a 2-hour class on marketing. Woo-hoo! You know? And then the economics was supply and demand. Well, woo, that helps a lot. You know? And so the problem with a lot of our education, and I do pick on it a lot, is it doesn't stay current. Like if you think about when did the money conversation about credit cards and debt and all that kind of crap, when did it all get formed really and laid down into our system? What year? 50s and 60s. I call it Ward 2 Cleaver days. Right? So Ward 2 Cleaver days, yeah, you probably should. It was harder to get credit cards. Interest rates were higher. There was all sorts of interesting challenges. So to keep you safe, just do your job. and we'll help manage it. But let's fast forward, folks. We are going into 2018. We are in the wildest economy we've ever had. Like, we are in the new green rush. You guys know it? If you notice on my workshop, which is totally different, if you'd like to go, it's a totally different workshop. It's $597. It's 3 days with the top. They were voted the #1 Nevada cultivation, infusion lab, and dispensary in the state of Vegas. I mean, in the state of Nevada, but in Vegas. So we're taking you for $597 on a 3-day tour. And we're going to teach you from top to bottom. If you want to get in the cannabis business, pick shovels. Who made the most money in the gold rush? Levi. So if you don't want to touch the plant, believe me, I have people buying land, we have buying warehouses, buying lights, you don't touch the plant, but it is an industry, it's a game changer, right? And when, for me, everybody says, why are you so into it? Well, it's off Wall Street, so it's in my talk track. But more than that is an industry that is coming alive. Like if you were part of the .com, like how many industries come alive in your lifetime? Maybe 1, maybe 2. So why not? You have something fun to do, right? So that's a totally different workshop, totally fun. So learning about money, like again, 2018, like the dispensary that I'm partnering with and we're working with, we take Bitcoin. We take 4 kinds of cryptocurrencies. Are you guys even in it? Right? I mean, I would say if America goes south, I'm going north, not only because I'm married to a Canadian, but the Canadian dollar is the strongest dollar in the world, if you ever want to know, but the strongest dollar in the world is the Canadian dollar. Next to that is the Australian dollar. So don't let anybody tell you any, and then Ireland's right behind it. So those are the strongest dollars, just to own dollars in. Is this interesting?
Yes.
Are you guys interested?
Yes.
How many of you like going, damn it, I should learn this? But you haven't, and honestly, it's why, when I worked with Kiyosaki for all those years, I said, where's the gap? Which is what I invite all of you looking for something to do. Don't just be the healer, the speaker, the whatever. Where's the distinction is probably a better word. The distinction for me is no one's teaching the core concept of money, right? So Kiyosaki taught cash flow, right? Brian Tracy teaches sales. Zig taught sales via money, right? Everybody's kind of got their thing, but where's your distinction? I tell you, there's a gold mine in your distinction. Just so you know how I picked money, because it's just money. Everybody needs it. Kids can have it. By the way, when you come to any of our workshops or come work with us, our charity side of our life is teenagers. So you bring your teenagers for free. If you don't have any, get some, they're tax deductible. But we give, and I really have a great one. My son just turned 18 earlier, actually a month ago, and guess what an 18-year-old in my world is going to get for a birthday present? An LLC. You got an LLC. And you got an American Express card, and you got a Visa card, and you got a gas card, you got a 3rd checking account. He's had a checking. So all you parents, you got to get one at 14, 16, and the 3rd one at 18. I teach you how to raise little millionaire kids. Not to be arrogant, but to change the world. So Logan will go on to college because he wants to play football. He'll probably have a social experiment chasing chicks. He's quite hot. 6'5", 240 pounds. Great kid. But he's going to go look for smart people to be on his team. You know, he's going for a CEO and a CFO and come back and God knows what they're going to do. Right now his current vision is he wants to own Uber in the sky. Because we've had a plane since he was 7, so he's a pilot. So that'd be kind of cool. A little Uber in the sky dial I need to pick up. We're going to change the world. All right, so let's go back to some of this stuff. I can teach you all day. You can imagine I teach you. By the way, I don't send subs. I come and teach the workshop myself. It drives me crazy when people send subs. Doesn't drive me crazy. You buy somebody's work and they are never there. Drives me crazy. So normally, if you're financially learning, I'm not going to say illiterate, learning, normally you would see an income and an expense statement this way. I put it this way to show you a pattern. Because when I have, how many of you have a gift? Like you're really good at something. So mine's money. I see money patterns. It's easy. I see what causes people to do their interesting behavior. So how it's taught is designed for this. The entire system is designed that you end up over here, right? So notice liabilities and expenses. So you go get a job. Your whole education is trained. You go get a job, and then you might get a master's degree. And then for those of you who really want a big job, you're going to get an MBA, massive, bad attitude, is what I call it, versus a massive bank account. Because entrepreneurs don't need an MBA. You guys get that? The only reason you need an MBA or advanced degree is because you want a bigger job. Now, I'm not saying don't get them. We need people to have them. But just be clear that you're making the choice. And do you think if you have a W-2 income, you could also have an income over here that's based out of an LLC or a C Corp? Could you have both? Ding, ding, ding is the golden ticket. So we have Air Force fighter jet pilots, right? You're TSA, right? Or Air Traffic Control? Not you, Grace, husband. Or you quit?
No.
Where do you work now? Oh, what? I'm sorry. Have you switched? Where are you working right now?
Church.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Where are you working, Grace?
County.
For the county. But see, together you have high W-2s. When you put your salaries together, by the way, let's just talk about salaries. Together, if your combined income is $67,000 or more, you're in the top 25% of income earners in the country. Isn't that shocking? Combined, 67,000. So you're in the top 25. Do you feel like it? Woo-hoo, right? So here's the challenge. I'm sorry, I confused you with what he was doing that. So if you have a W-2, and I just had another couple sign up, they're firefighters, and she's an EMT, so they have a big W-2 income. But over here, they have an LLC, and that firefighting couple, they actually love wine, so they started a new business, a new LLC, based out of our building, because it's a virtual business. And so our address is their address, and they have an office lease. They use our office. They live in Oklahoma. And they take people on wine tours for $1,000 a tour. So people meet in Oakland or San Francisco, and then they take them up to Napa, and they take people for $1,000, like 12 people at a time, put them in a limo, and the whole thing is deductible. So basically, they formed a business around writing off their hobby. You guys get that? Okay? So now they have a big W-2 income that's being taxed, and they have a LLC that now has a legal reason. See, you personally can't write off your car, but their company can. You guys get it? Like, as an individual, you don't have the legal right to write off a social media expert, right? A videographer, or our photographer guy that's been roaming around, right? So you don't have the legal right to rent this and then write it off. But if you're a business, are you ready for this number? There's 73,000 pages of tax code before Trump. There's now, because of Trump, whether you like him or not, just get past his hair and personality. He's one of us. He lives his corporate life. He will support this corporate life, and there's 81,000 pages of tax code. 81,000. So then you have to say, well, what can't I write off? See, that's really the conversation I'm going to have with you, is stop using your personal bank account. So we're going to talk about where's your money going, because it starts at a bank account level, right? What bank account it goes into will determine if you have deductions or not. So this is all legit, it's all legal, and I want you to have multiple sources of income. So our multiple sources is you could have W-2, like I have W-2. I mean, I'm legally still, we haven't filed our marriage in America for a lot of reasons. We got married down in Canada. So I'm really still a single mom of 2 kids making $48,000 in America. Average single mom. You guys get it? So they're not taxing the rich, they're taxing the high income earners. Right? That makes sense? And those of us that make millions, we're deducting our lives. So it's called corporate life. Legally done, legally organized, which is why I want you to get your books done, get your talks done, get your speeches up, like get a reason to make money. And the other thing I say about get your books done, get them done quickly. Just record them and transcribe it and get them out and get them on Amazon as fast as you can. I'm probably going to go for another one next year, more of a canvas-based business, or a book. But anyway, it's a big deal. It's a big conversation whether how to do a book. At least get to the Amazon bestseller list, right? That's not hard to do. That's 800 people in a day. So here's what happens is you're only taught one kind of income, and now let's go back through and let's look at this little matrix. Why did I put an infinity circle around right here? This is a continuum. You're never going to not be in this conversation, whether you wanted it or not. I love when clients say, and I can tell by some of your body language already, you're like really resistant around this. And it's like, well, money's not important to me. Well, you eat, you buy gas, you buy clothes. It has to have some level of importance, whether you like it or not. It helps you live on the planet, and it's just what it is. So it isn't about not having an attachment to it. It's about knowing you have to have it to live. Now you can live in struggle, or you can learn it and have an easier life. It's up to you how much struggle you want. Larry Wiggett wrote a great book. is once you learn corporate life and regular life, then you choose to be broke. Because becoming a millionaire is so quick when you learn to start living the path we're talking. So what happens in this infinite life is you turn 16, so you're taught, go get a job, go get a job, go get a job. And then this is the pattern that's taught and unfortunately happens all the time. Is then you go over here and you start stacking up a car payment, then you get an apartment, then you might get student loans, then you might get a house, then you might get a wife, and then you might get kids, and then you might get divorced, and then you might get another wife, and then the whole thing. Right? And so you stack up all these liabilities. So usually in your 20s and 30s, you're stacking up a whole bunch of liabilities, which hinges you to have to keep that damn job. Right? So see that's intentionally kind of done. And then here's the big one. Here's the hook, line, and sinker. Everybody buys it. Is then this is everything you owe, right? Your total car payment. And then this is what you owe per month. So you're all marketing and the entire financial world is designed to teach you, can you afford it per month? I mean, even P90X sells an infomercial, $19.99 for bond payments, you know? You can have this, everything's in form of payments, car payments, mortgage payments, right? The entire thing. So then your entire orientation to money in life is, come on, say it, payments and can I afford it? And then the credit bureau and the credit is, which is all backed by the financial suits, is behind it. So here's the thing about credit cards. If you don't have credit cards, you don't have money in the system. So do you look better financially if you have money in the system? Yes. Right? So you may want to pay off a card on the 7th, and then maybe one on the 15th, and then one. I don't want you to pay interest. I'm asking you to do that, but get smart about how this whole game's played. So for those of you who have no credit cards, don't use the system. Keep within your means. And then you say, oh, I have this brilliant business idea, and I want to get money, but I can't get credit. Well, because you're not credit worthy. So you want money flowing in the system all the time. You want to be buying, you want to be selling, you want to look credit worthy. That makes sense? Yes, no? So if you want to raise capital, are you more attractive if you know how to make money? Of course. What's the first question every shark asks? Me included. How much money have you made? Have you made a sale? Because us being your first sale is the riskiest money. Right? It's the highest risk money because your concept's not proven, whatever that concept is. So my goal is to have you break this cycle. And think about how much time you spend here per month. So when you say you don't have time, this isn't organized. Because this is what I want you focusing your time on, is making money. Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to afford it? Have a delete button over there. Just put it on pause and say, how can I afford it? What else can I do? What else can our family do? What can we do to make money? And then I want a percent of that money put away every month into what I call a wealth account. You're going to put money away and you're going to start buying assets. And then as you buy assets, you're going to learn. Maybe you'll buy a piece of real estate. Maybe you'll buy some cryptocurrency. Maybe you'll buy into our cannabis project. Maybe you'll buy into gas and oil. Maybe, I don't know what you're going to buy. We're going to teach you all sorts of stuff. So if you want to see the kind of stuff we teach, it's on the other side, right? Gas and oil franchises, I own lots of that stuff. We're going to evaluate, do you have life insurance or death insurance? Most people have death insurance. Life insurance allows you to leverage and create tax-free income. So I want you to take your attention off of what's not working and give it to what's going to work. And in all of our planning we do with you is we focus on income and assets, how much you're making, in what company. All the money's got to be made inside of a company, not individually, and then how do you get it moving as fast as you can. So my whole goal is just to start with you. Right? We literally start tomorrow. Gabe calls and welcomes you. It's very private. We start moving you around to where you need to be. Ideally, if you want to show up to one of the workshops, right now we have a pretty lean schedule. We took on the cannabis workshop. How many of you just said yes and figured things out before? How many just did a yes moment where you said yes but had no idea how it's going to work? How many of you had a yes moment before? So when I did my first yes moment was the offshore oil rigs. I was 24 years old, still in Nebraska, and I was offered a job, a contract with Chevron, and they said, we're going to pay you millions of dollars to design 272 fitness centers on an offshore rig. Can you do it? And I said, oh, absolutely. I didn't roll my eyes around like that. How many, so a pure yes moment is you say yes and you have no flipping idea what you're doing. Okay? So I said yes moment to the cannabis workshop. I just knew it was going to be part of the newest rush. I wanted to learn about it. I wanted to be part of an industry game changer. So we've been busy spending our time getting that ready. November, we're going to do this workshop online for 2 days. It's actually 3 hours a day. If you want, you can come to Salt Lake, come to LA. I can tell you we're going to start these workshops every other month. We've been going every month. But what we're going to capture in is, so our goal is to start taking you on tours. Here's what I know about creating millionaires. If I take you to the streets, because people ask, and you haven't asked, but you would be curious, I think, is to learn how I became a millionaire. Is I went to the streets with really smart millionaires. So I went to Oklahoma City, and I bought $16 million worth of real estate. So when I got there, he said, this was when I became a millionaire in 6 months, he said, you're going to go raise money. You have a database with that Kiyosaki group. I said, I don't know how to raise money. He said, good, we're going to have a lesson today. And at the end of the lesson, I was pitching how to go raise money. So 1 week later, I raised $16 million. Right, so you all can do it, but you have to be like totally focused and committed. So fast forward, so I became a millionaire in 6 months. And God, it's been just a fun ride. What else would you do? And so what I do now is I take you to the streets, same thing. So we're going to take you to the grow. We're going to take you to show you cannabis. A couple months ago, we took people to Ohio, and we walked through a big real estate project and a whole group of real estate that we own. I own 5 companies in Scottsdale. We'll take you to Scottsdale. You're going to learn how to look at properties, right, and how to look at businesses, right? That makes sense? So you can look and lean from, and even Shark Tank is interesting, but how would you like to really get behind the curtain and understand how was the money raised? How did it happen? How did the project work? Who runs it, right? Like how many of you had enough money you would like to learn? Because really what I'm teaching you is to be a shark. How many of you want to learn how to be a shark? Right? You don't want to learn how to be a shark? Still thinking about it? Well, what else are you going to do? Just give your money to sharks and then we'll do it for you? Well, so at some point, I don't know, has to become a plan. So what day might you know? Pick a day. You change it in your mind. What?
Next Thursday, I want to pick up your vote first.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so next Thursday. Good. So I push you a lot like that. A lot of you will notice that. Is because I want you to make a decision. You can always change your mind. But what I find is that without decisions, nothing happens. Does that make sense? Like today, you may say, oh, I want to do real estate. And then next week, after you read my book, say, no, I want to do gas and oil. But if you don't decide, then nothing happens. So if you look at this pattern, right, that I gave you on here, right, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's really not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really as you make money, you make it inside your LLC, right, so it's really simultaneous. You're putting some money away into a wealth account to go buy new assets, and you're doing it with teammates. So really, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all at once. This is how millionaires are made. And the biggest mistake, can I give you 2 big mistakes? Write them down. I should ask you, what do you think the 2 biggest mistakes are in becoming a millionaire? Not doing anything that's kind of an overlay. Yeah, but even more specifically, what do you think the behavior is? Waiting for the perfect plan is a big one. I have one in my Yes Energy book. I have a chapter called Perfection Equals Poverty. Perfection will never come. And I'd also say to those of you who haven't wrote your book yet, I just wrote really well. And I look back at it now, I think, God, that's so cute. I mean, right, because it was 2004, and I know so much more. But if you don't start, more content won't come. So just keep giving it up. Wherever you are, give it your best. It was the best I knew then. Looking back, oh my gosh, I would have totally changed, but I know what I knew then. So for all of you, don't wait for that perfect time, that perfect moment where it's all going to come together. It's just not, because you're not in motion. You're not in movement. No one's, there's just no momentum around it. I'll guide you a little. When you make new money, what's your number 1 mistake? With new money, what do most people do? Spend it, paying off old debt, paying off your credit cards. So as you make new money, you pay down your credit cards. Number 1 mistake, bad use of money, right? And number 2? Sitting on it and not investing it. Because there'll be some magical moment. Here's what most people, and you're kind of taught this, is once you make it, you have this whole pile, then learn to invest it. It doesn't work like that. You just have to make it, invest it, make it, invest it, make it, invest it. So even if you make $10,000 a month, start putting $1,000 away. You say, well, what can I buy for $1,000? Let's just get there and then we'll have that conversation. See, the other thing a lot of you want is you want the whole how-to plan laid out. It doesn't work. Until you have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 over here to invest, why are we having that conversation? It's out of order. And what's interesting is I had a flip chart, I always draw a box, and I say, you're in the box, and what you know about money is going to be negotiated with what I'm telling you, because I'm going to be pushing on what you know that's inaccurate. That make sense? Like how to get out of debt. Like how many times have you been told, get out of debt, then we'll start investing? How ridiculously stupid is that? I mean, it drives me crazy. So for example, like we just met a client, you weren't there yet, I thought Andy might have been in the room. It was your class you went to, Andy, but you had already gone. So a woman said, well, I just paid off my car, I feel really good. And I said, well, what'd you pay? She said, $24,000, I paid off the car. I said, she took a chunk of cash. That was like an early inheritance distribution, right, from her mom and dad. And you took $24,000 and you paid off the car. She said, yeah, but now I'm debt free. I said, oh my God. So why is that just a really bad idea? She could have invested the money. Let's just call it an easy 10%. So she could have invested it, made $2,400, divide by 12, $200 a month cash flow. So in that model, which we're going to teach you, you hold the principal, you learn to invest. See why? She said, well, I didn't know how to get 10%. I said, I know, but that's why you're around the community now, is to learn how to get the deals. Like we have real estate deals. Like I'm a bank right now for a guy in Kansas. He pays me 16% to be his bank. I think that's pretty damn good. I think anything you go over 10% is pretty good. But go back to her 10%. She would have had her $24,000 in the bank. Actually not in the bank, but on a first deed of trust with a real estate property, owned property. Got 10%, right? $2,400. Are you all with me? That's $200 a month cash flow. So then she could take the $200 and pay more toward the car payment. So although slower, she retains her principal. Because I looked at her and I said, how long is it going to take you to get $24,000 back in your bank? She said, probably a couple years. You see the problem? It's a huge mistake, but it's so, the education is so wrong and bad that people just keep doing it. They have you feeling like it's better to be out of debt than it is to understand investing. And here's the other part that I didn't talk about. The car payment was 1.8%. Right. Well, and so it's also the interest spread. So yeah, say she can only get 10%, she's paying 1.8. At least she's making, right? She's making a spread of 8.2. At least she's making more money on her money. So what we want to do is teach you how to constitute and requalify your money. So here's something most people, how many of you have a 401k? 401k? Qualified money. So did you know you could borrow $50,000 from it, which is a loan, which means it's cash. So we re-qualify your money. Now with the 50, you go invest, I always use 10 as an easy, right? So now you can make $5,000 cash, divide by 12, so you're making just over $400 a month, cash to you. Currently that $50,000 sitting in your 401k doing nothing. Well, no benefit to you. And it's all tax-free money. You guys see what we're gonna do? Like, I'm just sprinkling the dust on the themes of the things. So, I mean, so our goal is we're just a huge team of experts. You got to use us. We have to get you a plan. We got to get you organized.
Laurel,
So exciting. What else would you do?
with your program, I guess I'm a little bit confused as to how do I know if I'm a good fit for your program?
Do you want to learn to make money?
But I understand that, but is there a certain financial threshold?
No.
So I could be dirt broke and,
Yep.
okay.
Yes, I've taken people off welfare. I have taken a single mom, 5 kids off welfare. She's not a millionaire, but she's making $400,000, owns a cleaning company. So here's what is the longer you do it your way, and it's typically the old way, the more pain you get into. The earlier we can get you, the faster we set up the right company with you, for you, right? Your speaking business, is it in an LLC or an escort? Where do you live? So it should be an escort. And then IP, as you get into the hundreds of thousands, would be in Nevada, right? And then you start learning to invest. And you say, well, I don't have enough time because I'm running my business. I know, but you've got to keep the investing going with you. That makes sense? All of you need a Roth IRA. The way you create a fast, how many of you would love your kid? Actually, I would say it differently. How many of you are willing to put $6,500 a year away to make your child worth $4.2 million, and then that's all you have to do? You put it into a Roth IRA. You get your kid working for your company. We show you how to set that all up, and then you fund their Roth, $6,500 a year, invested at 10%. By the time they are, I think that number's around 40, they'll be worth $4.2 million. All that's just one move. So that's why when you say, well, it's really hard, is, there's just so many things that if you don't do them till later, then you just got to play catch up. Like if you started putting away, say, 20, 30,000 a year right now, you'd be a slower millionaire. But our goal is to get you to make a lot of money. Speaker authors, you guys should be making a ton of money. I've had $1 million days before as a speaker author. The Harbecker days, crushed it. Harv and I would be in front of 1,000 people, do $1 million together in 92 minutes. It's not difficult. But if the money goes into the wrong bank account and then you're overtaxed and then you don't know how to invest, then it just becomes that whole cycle. So we say there's no age, right? The longer you wait, the more interesting mistakes you might make, right? Costly mistakes. And then it's up to you. Like sometimes, like at the beginning, we talked to you guys a lot, and now I assume we're working a plan, but we got to touch base again. And so we're really just here. We're here for you to call. Those of you in California, let's review a tax return. Let's review your entity, get the right entity, get the right bank. I won't say out loud because we're on video all over. I don't need any legal action against lots of banks, but some of these banks around here suck. They're horrible. How do you get credit cards? How do you use credit? So it's sort of like getting the basics fixed again. That makes sense? How do you get your bookkeeping fixed? And then what I really want for you is set up a system that you don't have to work, right? My bookkeepers do all this work. So I know it sounds like a lot. In the beginning, we just got to fix you. And we get you going. Now, once you get to the workshop, we actually kind of ramp it up. So in the workshop, I guarantee you make money. I have this cool marketplace system, and you will make money. Guaranteed you'll make money, or I'll give you your money back. So the Off Wall Street workshop we're talking about is the Salt Lake and the LA one, or anything forward. In March, we'll probably be in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to be coming back to Beverly Hills in the summer. But you are guaranteed to make money, and I'll get you down to a couple of minutes. Like let's just play it. Am I out of time right now? No, you got half an hour. You guys are good? Oh, okay. How many, who has something to sell right now? Okay? What are your sponsor? What do you got to sell?
Books, coaching, and magazine.
Books, coaching, magazine then. So, what's your book sell for?
$14.99.
Okay, so in a room like this, most people don't carry on $14.99. They probably have a credit card, but I want cash, right? So in a room, you can say it was $14.99, but today it's $10. And what's the book about? Ooh, speed learning. I love that. By the way, if you guys have not learned to speed read, you should. It's one of the greatest tools you'll ever. Are they similar stuff?
Speed read is one of the things. Fast information. Speed learning is language.
Oh, cool. All right, so $15, $10. What's your offer? $10. Okay, so stand up, give me a little pitch. Give the room a pitch.
Hey guys, I'm Loral Langemeier. I'm a speed learning expert based on Fox News, and I'm a high school dropout turned PhD, and I wrote this amazing book on speed learning, and I'd love for you to get it at a discount price today at $9.99.
$10 down here, 10s, 5s, 10s, 20s. $10. So who's interested in speed reading right now? Speed learning. Sorry. Woo! Yeah. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. This is how fast I just taught you what I do. So you're going to take, do you have an order form, sir?
No.
Okay, so this can be your order form. We're just going to take this paper. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of people starting right back there. Raise your hand one more time. You're going to do a quick little memory thing. So you just made $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70 in the room. Boom. Now go get it. Like right now. and by the way, this wasn't a simulation. Those of you raise your hand, get your money out. It's easy, huh? So that was well done. Were you well rehearsed? There's $10. I'm going to get 10% for that, JD. So those are sort of those embedded things, like all this, like normally, like all of you, when you really, really are playing bigger, you have all this set up, right? You have all your structures set up, your joint ventures set up, your ability to make money. Who else wants to make some fast money really quick? Who else has something to sell? What do you got? How to write? Now, have you done it yourself? Okay, thank God. Because I would bust you in your integrity. You know, Sandy and I have been around the world all over, and somebody will come and look interesting, and they'll be like, I'm an image consultant. We're like, maybe you should check in. Or actually somebody super heavy is like, yeah, I teach people how to really lose weight. We're like, that'd be like me saying, I'm teaching you to make money. I don't have any. So thank God you do. Be in integrity to what you sell or you shouldn't sell. Okay, what's your offer? What do you do? We want to stick to the one lowest date, like big dating, right? Dating, which means, let me just do a quick quiz. Would you rather get $10 from everybody in this room or have one person pay you $100,000? Come on, business people. No, it's a horrible business model. So, because if everybody pays you 10, I'm going to follow up, and then the next time, my second item is 100. You're going to buy 100. You're going to buy 1,000. You want what I call, what you call speed learning. I call speed dating, called money. I'd rather have you have $10 from everybody. See, you're going to follow up with them now. They're going to get a product. Now you have a reason to follow up. How much money did you get?
$30, something like that.
30? Come on. You said you wanted it. Come on, we're not done. Jeez. See, I care more about your money than some of you, but there'll be a day it's going to turn on. I promise you. All right. So help me draw. Can I draw? This will be my little chart. You're gonna learn this at the workshop. Back up here so you don't see. Okay. So this is your funnel. You want like a $10 or $20 item, and you want your big marriage model down here. Some of you want to get married way too fast. You want to date, get married. Meaning big tickets are down here, small, right? Because $10 gets you all committed to me. Not a legal reason to follow up, a legitimate reason, not to chase you. $10 reason, right? And then 10 could sell a $250 item, and then a $2,000 item, and then a $20,000 item. You got to take them in a directional sequence for cash. Make sense?
Yes.
So you always want what I call top of funnel. So what's your $10 item or $20 item?
For the book, writing books, 30 days, I also have a workshop.
Don't tell me two things. That confuses me now. Which one should I have? I do nothing.
You do the book.
Thank you. Just getting me started. You guys all getting it? It's a speed teaching. Go fast. So how much is your book?
It's $9.99.
Okay, nobody has $9.99. You guys make it hard for us. You want to make money? Make it easy. 10. 10's easy. 15's easy. $10. And where's the book?
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Oh, God, so you're going to make me go to Amazon to get it? Oh, it's like a lot of work. Oh, I can't be bothered. What's the answer? Come on. You guys are going to have fun. We're going to teach you all these techniques. Okay, keep going. You're getting closer to the answer. So you all need to swipe. And you're going to take our money. Or you're going to take the $10, take all of our information. What's your lovely name? I've seen you before. I've met you, Bryce. So you're going to take Bryce's name, phone number, and email, all this detail. Take $10, and then you're going to do all the work for him later. And then you're going to send him his Amazon book. See, the minute you send somebody away to a website is the minute you lose the sale. Because everybody uses a stupid technique. Everyone's busy. If all you did is give everybody your number, like how many of you remember, unless you totally really want that thing, to remember to go to a website? Right? And here's what happens when you say go to a website. Because there's like you're in a really crowded space of people telling people to be authors, is they'll say, well, I can't remember the guy's name, I can't remember his product, so I'm just going to look up how do you write a book quick. And whoever shows up, pops SEO at the top, they get the product. Okay? So does anybody want to learn how to write a book and have that? 30 days or less for $10 and an Amazon book. Woo! Okay, then go get it. Right there, $20 in there. See how easy this is? I'm just teaching this technique. Simple. All right, talk to me. You're all quiet. What are you learning? Oh, you want to sell something too? Yep, that lesson's done. That lesson's over. Yes. Oh, so simple. Especially in the beginning. All this big stuff you learn in some other people's seminars about, and I've been through everybody's stuff. I mean, I've coached tons of those people's stuff. I'm not saying it arrogantly, it's just, God, they come up with these interesting, so my name, what's your name? Sherry, and then I do blah, 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 and I do blah, 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 and I'm going to puke all over you, and you haven't asked me about what I do, but I'm just going to keep talking and talking and talking. It's exhausting. You nailed the first talk track. You said, I'm an expert, which I love. Don't say you're a coach or a facilitator. Like, I'm an expert. This is what I do. This is my offer. Simple. They either want it or they don't want it. Right? Make it simple. You're not. Now, is that true at the big marriage model down at the bottom, right, where you're selling a $20,000 package? No. I mean, there's a whole conversation and a different technique. But to get $10, right? It says to get $10. So here's what we do at the workshop, which you're all going to sign up and go to. Say yes.
Yes.
Well, I always say, because it's not workshop driven. Like, if you don't ever walk through my workshop door, then, well, you'll just miss all hanging out with us and seeing each other. But I will do things that are super creative, and everyone will make money in the room. Your teenagers will make money in the room. If you don't have any, you should get some. What we're doing today is giving you the November bonus. So the way this works is if you want to do cannabis, it's totally different. Go see my team back there. But you're signing up for us to really start this process with you. So we're going to do tax return returns. We're going to get entities done. We're going to get all this stuff done. So when you actually do get to the workshop, and if you don't have to get to the workshop, you're fixed. 2017 is critical. It drives me crazy. You know, you'll remember me January and say, oh, you know, can I still do those deductions from 2017? It's like, no, you've got to get fixed this year now, done and done. We got to get you incorporated, legal reason to write off, like you're at a very critical time, I think, right now to get this stuff fixed and done. That makes sense? So other questions? What? I have an entire team in Australia. I was there. My daughters will be 11 this Sunday, and she's been there 56 times. We have an enormous team in Australia and New Zealand. And a lot of those clients end up having Nevada C Corps and using our program. Yeah. Yeah. Our office is Circular Keys. Beautiful. You gotta go. The challenge with the Aussie, well, not just the Aussie, I mean, your price, the competition, I'll say, in your real estate market versus ours. Like, we have great real estate folks. I own part of mine. I own some a tree product that actually creates and reduces carbon credits that we sell back to the United States. So we have several companies there that do cool stuff. But you just don't have the leverage we have in America. So that's why a lot of the Aussies come across. But at least, you know, we also have a lot of Aussies were ripped off by really horrible American real estate folks. So we have to recover our Australian program by bad US speakers. Just because somebody's on TV doesn't mean they know anything. They're a hired talent. God, it drives me crazy. You guys show up to the workshops like, it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy.
And do you have a team in Canada as well then?
Of course. We have husbands in Calgary. It's a big exteriors company, siding, roofing, doors, windows. So we're in Calgary a lot. We're in Vancouver a lot because of the grows, the cultivations, and the weeds good. Yes. Thank God I don't do the product, right? And I ruin the margins. I just love the business. All right. So make money, keep money, invest money with the team. Say it out loud. That's how you become a millionaire. Make money. Keep money. Invest money. And with the team. Can you click the next slide? We're just going to go through these. So there's the matrix. Again, it's going to go on the rest of your life whether you want it to or not. You can say, why wait? Here's the 3 top things that will destroy wealth. Number 1 is unplanned inheritances. So you either giving money or you receiving money is an enormous mistake. Right? So get really ready. My kids have already been disseminated over half of my estate. Reduces my taxes, increases their ability to move in their world. So we're going to teach you. How many of you have kids? How many of you want to learn how to do it different with your kids? And it's never too late. Don't say I've already screwed them up. And you'll also notice your kids learning from you is difficult. Right? They don't listen to dad. Right? So believe me, they don't always listen to me. They listen to my other teammates because they're going to listen to somebody else more than